we have the ability to come back and retest the range lows. Earnings wise this week, we do have, we go here to, we do have some more earnings this week. Get these noted. Not seeing a ton of big companies, but I'm sure the list quantity wise of earnings is probably still pretty high. Let's find out. So let me know if you have some notables on here that you like. I'll see exactly what our quantity is this week. So stock twits, earnings, and this week, yeah, decent amount, probably four or 500. Not as many as the last. I mean, 2 weeks ago it was Mag 7. So all your market cap, 37% of market cap in 1 week. Then you had 1,270 companies last week. This week I am counting through the 11th. 134, 132, 116, 121, and 7. Over 500 companies this week reporting. Key levels to watch. Seriously, July 31st high, August 1st low. If we roll over, I mean, I'm going to focus a lot of my efforts on what we've been doing the last few weeks with a lot of success, which is, find our levels, calculate our levels. And right now it seems like we have the sticking point around 64. I'd like to be selling up here near the highs. VIX is at 15.84. So let's get a couple of levels done. 1584. Oops, my fingers can type. 1584, looking at about a 0.99% move. It'd probably be less than that, but based on the close, we might have a tiny little gap open. But we go off of this close from Friday, right around 63.89, and go up 0.99, about 64.50. 64.55 would be potential top. And just based on my liquidity levels here, my gamma levels, I'll likely be adding strikes around the 15 and 20. See if price wants to push that 64, get these things filled. That'll be kind of my level one on the day. And then, if we end up pushing higher to 25, 30, which would retest those July 31st highs, then we'll see if we can line those up. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to stack some bear call spreads this morning. We'll get into a little anatomy of a trade here in a little bit. We've got 25 minutes for the open. 1% to the downside puts us around 63.27. So 63.30, 63.27. I'll put 5. Okay, so that's potential bottom. We also want to make sure that we adjust these levels based on gap higher, gap lower. Look at the intraday price action as well. All right, who else is popping in the room today? Well, good morning, Mark. Good morning, Donna. Good morning. Snapper Jack, Catherine. Good afternoon to Catherine. Dr. Barnes, good stuff. Andy, good morning. Greg, good morning. All right, don't be shy. Say hello. All right, tops and bottoms. Let's go. Little top down for Macro Monday. If anybody ever has any questions on services, so this week I'll be talking. We're trading every day for daily profit play. We got a class today at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time for waterfall income. This week I'll be spending some time talking about double up alerts. It's just a strategy that is high reward, low risk, and it's usually trading within a 0 to 1 day expiration. So I tend to keep it pretty short. I do want to say I'm going to open up this week on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. I'm going to switch things up with kind of my classes for this particular course, double ups. I'd like to run kind of a 3-day workshop this week at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you'd like to join me for double up alerts, I'm going to run some workshop classes, master classes this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'll share more about that in a little bit, but I just want to make sure we have some face time together review the strategy, and see how we're trading things each and every week. Okay, we'll talk more pinch point scanner on Wednesday with my watch list Wednesday. If you want to protect the portfolio, which I mean, I think you always have to if you want to eliminate the big dips and the drawdowns that the markets inevitably give. You got to understand how to protect the portfolio, whether you want to be completely delta neutral or you want to make sure you have the appropriate amount of contracts to hedge a certain chunk of your portfolio or in full. Um, Project Options Edge, bit of my kitchen sink approach where I can trade, variety of strategies, kind of the whatever it takes. And then if you want just some great education, 27 bucks for a quick guide, 497 for a full course. That's 13 of my favorite option strategies. And I basically built this for I built this for people that I see come into my sessions that have zero knowledge about options education. I'm actually giving this to my nephew that's in college. I'm giving this to him and a handful of friends. I'm going to use them as a bit of a pilot group. It's like they know nothing about options. They know nothing about trading and investing. If they're at all interested in picking up some insight on this, this is a good way to do it. So just from start to understanding, where we place trades, where our risk is, where our reward is, where everything is defined risk. It's just a nice bonus education course. So anyway, that's that. Let's go into, we did credit spreads last week. I'm going to talk about debit spreads this week, or today rather, for Anatomy of a Trade. So my little segment here, Anatomy of a Trade, will focus on a debit spread. Okay. And then tomorrow with workshops, I'd like to spend some more time. If we're talking debit spreads today, then tomorrow I'd like to get into butterfly spreads. So we'll just kind of add this into our Anatomy of the Trade segment. Okay. All right. So coming into this morning, Bitcoin had a pretty good run over the week. Let's do We're going to do this. We're going to go macro. So take a little top down. We're going to jump into Anatomy of a Trade. We're going to sprinkle in a quick lesson on debit spreads. And then by that time, we should be at top or halfway point of the hour opening bell. Okay. So let's go macro Monday. Futures up just a little bit. Last week, the market was green. So we did have a green week, but it was inside the previous week's high low. I think if the market pokes the highs and falls, the big news we have this week is going to be inflation. So Bloomberg calendar right in here. Let's go to Tuesday to Thursday this week. So it'll be the 12th through the 14th, 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. So core CPI, let's take a look at these numbers right here. So this chunk of US news in the morning. Okay, so core CPI year over year, previous is 2.9, forecasted to go higher at 3%. I don't think the market's going to love that. I don't see how higher inflation for several months now trending back up, well above the Fed's target rate, which I know it's subjective and arbitrary, but higher inflation can't be good. CPI, your headline CPI is 2.7, 2.8. If that's true, where we forecasted 2.8, previous 2.7, we come in 2.8, 2.9. Inflation's higher, costs are higher. So I can't imagine that's a good thing. Price action is price action. So do we melt up prior to the actual news? Do we have the news gives us a rip up and then we fall off of that? I don't know. We'll watch price action. It's really a price action game this week. Okay, so watch out for manipulation. I still think we have to have a correction into my 50-day moving average, into my previous all-time highs. Some dynamic support in here, but somewhere between a 5% correction, possibly 5 to 10. We had that flush out last summer as well. So watching SPX, watching the key levels from last 2 weeks ago now, high and low from the 31st of July to the 1st of August. Those are going to be key levels to watch. Go into your Qs. Still kind of range bound right up to the highs on the Qs today. If we don't break higher, again, probably heading back down to range lows, pull back to the 50-day moving average, pull back to previous all-time highs. The Dow just shy of the all-time highs, but with this break in structure here, I wonder if this is a little topping pattern and we end up selling off for a correction. Again, pretty well supported in here on the Dow. Do we get back to highs, later? Sure, but I still think a correction is underway, which is why I'm just going to focus on selling as high as I possibly can, staying out of the daily range levels and collecting some premium. Russell possibly is swinging here, heading lower if we have some follow through. Okay. I'm still interested in buying some dips on the Russell around the 200 handle. That's IWM. VIX is sub 16. Bond volatility is down. Dollar index still making higher lows, possibly a run up to higher highs if we have risk off. Dollar gets a little bit stronger, stays bid. Oil broke the 65 support. Has room to drop to 55, but I think it's going to be a sticky like 60 to 65 price action on oil. Natural gas still just anybody's guess. Probably a good spot to get long. I mean, it's pretty low risk here if you're actually stopping yourself out around 1250 or lower. But I think there's some squeezes and pops the upside of natural gas. Gold. I'd love to see gold finally hit a 200 moving average. I don't know how we get there as far as a big correction in gold, or we just keep going sideways, 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 and all these moving averages catch up. Silver. I like silver better than gold as far as the technicals. Ability to get to all-time highs, $48. We're spot price at 37.80. It's like a 25 to 30% move still. 26.81% to get up to all-time highs in silver. I still like that trade. Bitcoin poked 122. Everyone got all excited. It's fading a little bit. I think it's noise. A lot of dynamic support. If Bitcoin starts to stretch to all-time highs, is the market going with it? If the market corrects, is Bitcoin going with it? I still like, being long Bitcoin. It's just if we have a correction coming in the stock market, I think Bitcoin's going to either go sideways or pull back as well on these dynamic levels. What else? Ethereum poking. This is a big push in Ethereum. Another run from 3,400 all the way up to 4,300. We breached these recent resistance levels, all-time highs around 48.70. So just be careful. This looks like a pretty good five-way structure. One, two, three. Well, this is, I don't know if that's wave four or not. One, two, three, four, five. So be careful on this one in case it just pulls back. We could have this pullback before we continue higher. All-time highs. That's kind of it. But I would expect some type of pullback here. If you're long Ethereum, great. We got long in my project options edge back here and took that first kind of sprint. So I didn't get long in the break of the trend line because it was garbage for a while, but we had a nice little swing trade on that one. Bought shares around 19. Was ETHA. Bought shares around 19 and change, took it out at 29. Copper, still, actually, I do want to take a look and see if I can get a copper trade this week if the lows will be in from April. It's all about pricing, though. The bid ask has been blown out since that big disruptive move now last week or the week before. But if it's a decent like reward to risk setup, then I'll consider it. Non-US. DAX off all-time highs, FTSE sitting at all-time highs, Argentina bouncing off the 200 moving average, Brazil had a nice little pop last week off the 200 moving average, Latin America, same thing off the 200 moving average. MAGs, 59.99 opening higher, MAG 7 continues to do pretty well, mainly led by Nvidia, Microsoft, Meta are really your high flyers. Google's been playing catch up. Apple had a great week, like one of the best weeks since 2020 last week. Yep, Apple, I mean, just ripping. So, or I mean, it did. I think it's going to be kind of contained here, but we'll see. Um, Amazon fighting back into that gap. Broadcom still at all-time highs, close to it. Google still making some runs up. Meta, just kind of an island move after earnings. Microsoft faded, but most likely going to find plenty of support. 50-day moving average, previous highs. I'd say 500 to 460, 500 to 450. Pretty strong support in Microsoft. Netflix catching some moving average love here at the 100 moving average, and then Nvidia 182 overbought conditions with divergence. I think we at least go sideways on Nvidia or pull back. Tesla 335. Interesting timing for maybe a wedge break here. Still not there though. I could see still some noise in Tesla. Might take a little bit longer to kind of get the sideways move out. Okay, and then a real quick look at currency strength. We'll go into some debit spreads. So today, dollar on top, yen on top, Swiss the weakest. Not a huge volatility move, so only about 50 pips or so between dollar and Swiss. But that's what I see. So that was just quick macro, top down, watching July 31st highs, watching August 1st lows, and looking to see how price action plays out with the major catalysts this week around another 500 companies and earnings, and also big news around inflation with Tuesday CPI. Both forecasted to be higher, by the way. You know, if core CPI gets to 3%, if headline gets to 2.8, 2.9, I can't imagine the market's going to take that positively. If you're telling the consumer higher inflation, I mean, we've been dealing with it for the last 4 or 5 years, you know. So, um, again, does that sour the mood? I don't know. Does it sour the market? You never know. Maybe not. But it does paint a picture why the Fed's continuing to, push back on aggressive rate cuts. So if I go to watch tool really quickly, I'm still seeing a three cut forecast by the end of the year. This has decreased from about 92% now to 88%, but most likely September is still looking at a rate cut. I think a 50 basis points rate cut would be a shock to the market. 25 would be probably appropriate. 25, 25, 25 to finish September, October, December this year to see three cuts by the Fed. So if we get three cuts by the Fed, sitting near all-time highs, is that a buy the rumor, sell the news? We're now that the Fed officially starts cutting, it's all been priced in, and things start to get a little bit shakier through September. Maybe, right? Maybe not. It's I don't know. It's an interesting market. Like I think that you got to feel better having some protection in your portfolio, and you just continue to grind. I think the melt up is still real. I think that stocks will continue to be up if we have higher inflation. What better place to battle inflation than having ownership of stocks, having ownership in gold, having ownership in silver, ownership in Bitcoin. It doesn't have to be a crazy assortment. You don't have to be extremely diversified. It's just have protection of the downside. Make sense? All right. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Let's go debit spread. So we'll do anatomy of a trade. We're going to throw in a debit spread here just as an example. And my goal for today, we'll talk debit spreads. I want to talk butterfly spreads this week as well. Um, actually, yeah, I think that'll make sense. Let's talk debit spreads. We'll keep it really simple. So similar to what we did last week, just kind of outlining some levels. I mean, we got opening bell in 10 minutes. I've got my high and the low. My focus for today for daily profit play alerts is going to be looking to sell up here. 15 and 20, I'll start there, see if I can get the fills that I want. That'll be kind of trade size number one. Potentially the market has the ability to come back up higher, but if we hit 64 and then fall back into 63.85 or lower, usually Mondays are pretty choppy days. Hopefully we won't have a big directional move, but I'm just going to try to fade this thing as high as I can. Okay, so opening around 63.90, hopefully only going up about 30 to 40 points gives me some decent premium to sell today. And that again will be trade size, number one. I'll reserve some more dry powder for selling higher, but hopefully this 15 and 20 isn't too bad as far as reward to risk today. But I will scale in if I have to, recognizing that the 31st highs are 64.27. Okay, a debit spread. Okay, let's talk debit spreads. So last week we spent a few segments talking credit spreads. Today let's talk debit spreads. So risk defined, we can do, if you're doing bullish, a bullish debit spread. Simple example would be called a bull call spread. And the way that trade is taken is you buy a call, which in this case would be a lower strike, and you sell a call at a higher strike. So let's use an example on I think we did a lot of examples last week on the SPX. Let's do it here. If I were to buy, we're trading right around like 63.90, okay? If I were to buy, we use an SPX example. If I buy the 63.90 call and I sell the 63, let's go 6400 call. Okay, what's my width? My volume went low. My volume should be like crazy high with this microphone. Give me a quick A/B check, everybody. How's the volume? Good, good, good. Okay. That's what I thought. This like I've got this little lavalier mark on my shirt. Should be like nice and sensitive, nice and loud. All right. So Rick, if you just need to check your volume, make sure you get muted. Okay. So I buy a 6390 call, sell a 6400 call. The width on that spread is what? 10. Correct. Width is 10. Let's say that the debit, let's say the debit here is about three. Well, actually, the debit here would probably be more like $6. This is an example, but $6. So what's my risk? If I buy the 6390, okay, if I buy the 6390 and I sell the 6400 and the broker says that's going to cost you $6, what's my risk? $4. Okay, what's my break even? So if I buy the 6390, sell the 6400, it costs me $6. That means my risk is $4. I'm sorry, that's actually backwards. My risk is $6 because that's the cost of my debit. Cost of the debit. Okay, the break-even price. Yep. So my debit's 6. I was thinking credit spread. So debit is $6, which means my max risk is $6. Is 10 wide. So instead of risk question, let's go profit question. $4, which would be the 10 width less the $6 debit. So that in this case, I'd have a $4 max profit. Okay. So in other words, this trade, if SPX rallies to 64.10, okay, let's say it rallies to 64.10. Well, I have a 63.90 long call. I have a 6400 sell call. Okay. $6 debit equals a break even of 6396, right? And price is way above that. So my line in the sand, 6390 or less equals full risk of $6. 6391 equals $5 risk. 6392 equals $4 risk. 6393 equals $3 risk. See what I'm doing here? Because this is a index that is a cash settled instrument. So I can each dollar, like 60, 63, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, all the way to that break even price. Full risk $6, and again, break even 63.96. Okay. So what happens if I'm at 63.97? 63.97 is $1 profit. 63.98 equals $2 profit. 63.99 $3 profit. 6400 equals $4 profit. Okay. How about this? 6405. What's my profit? Yeah, it's a debit spread, so it's maxed out. I max out my profit here at the width of my spread. So if I buy the 6390, sell the 6400, I'm capping my risk. All the upside above 6400 doesn't matter. I'm just capping my risk to increase the probability that we can get there. Okay, 6405 is still a $4 profit. So anything 6400 or greater is capped reward. Okay, which is not a bad thing. Okay, I'm capping my risk, I'm capping my reward. Can you make these trades where they can be positive reward to risk? Absolutely. We can structure these trades in a lot of ways where you can get more profit than risk. Okay, it's just understanding once you place these trades, where is your break even? Okay, we've got 4 minutes. Let's try to do another example. Let's use the SPY. Okay, I do a lot of trades on SPY, a lot of trades on QQQ. Debit spreads are maybe a little bit easier to think about versus the 4-digit index. So let's talk SPY. Okay, SPY at 690. Actually, it's at 640, right? Yeah, let's say it's at 640. So it'll make the numbers pretty simple. So if I buy a 635 call and I sell a 650 call, that's 15 wide. Let's say the broker says you can pay $7.50 debit. What's my risk? What's my reward? What's my break even? So 635 is my buy call, 650 is my sell call. It's 15 wide and I'm paying 750 for it. So my risk would be the cost of that debit. Max risk, which is the cost of debit spread. My reward would be your 15 wide minus your debit. So 15 minus 750. 750 is max profit, which would be the $15 width less the debit, which is 750. And the break-even price would be 634, I'm sorry, 642.50. So if I want break even or better, I've got to see price by the time my expiration is done, whatever that expiration is. If price is 642.50 or higher, I keep my full profit, but my break even would be 642.50 to make sure I'm not losing money. Price needs to be at or higher for break even or profit. Okay? So that means if we were to finish at 645 is going to be $10 credit minus the 750 debit. So you'd still make $2.50 there. It prices at 649. That would be a $14 credit minus the 750 is $6.50 profit. Okay. So if I want to have a one-to-one, I need price to be greater than 650. Okay, so we'll put here for max profit. For max profit, SPY needs to be 650 or greater by expiration. Okay, so if the SPY is up to 655, 660, 670, 680, doesn't really matter. I've capped my upside, but that would be my full profit. Now, this is at expiration. If you're seeing this SPY at 650, 660 prior to expiration, you can get most of this profit, not all of it. The full profit's going to be realized at expiration. Okay, I'm going to put a pin in this right now. We'll come back and we can always come back to these segments, but it's time to get after trading. So 620, I'm going to see what I can get for 620 today. August 11th, SPX. I'm going to try 615, 620 today. 15 is a 21 delta. I'm going to try this here, see what they'll fill me at. 2. I'm going to try 250 credit. Got filled at 250 credit. So I'm in pretty quickly here. Selling is 64.15. This is for daily profit play alerts. Putting it in Telegram right now. New trade, SPX, 811 expiration, selling the 64.15. I'm going 10 wide on each one of these. 64.20, 64.30. Got filled for 250 credit. Okay, so that's going to be trade number 1. I'm going to hold these right now, just trade number 1. So the goal is if I can take a quick profit, let's say price goes down a little bit today, or comes up to 64 and then falls back down. As long as we stay, less than 64.15 today, I'm going to try to pull in a decent chunk of that profit. So 250 is my max profit. If I could pull, I don't know, 150 to $200 today, I'd be pretty happy with that. Let's see where price takes me. I'm going to try to get a couple extra trades in here if I can sell the 664. Let's see here. 64.15 and 20. Get a couple of these trades in. Okay. So this is 979, 811 expiration. Center price is around 63.90. I'm going to see what each trade offered up individually on the SPX trade. So I've got the 15 by 25, and I've got the 20 by 30. Okay, so the 15 by 25 is $1.47, and the 64 20 by 30, these are credit spreads, $1.03. So collectively, that's a 250 credit. I'm going to try to close these out together. I just want to see if I have to, scale in more. So I'm going to add in a trade here. Let's try, let's see, by 20. What will that percentage move be if we have a if the VIX goes up at all today, that would be good because if we go up on the VIX, down in price, we should see some pretty nice profit. But something tells me that 64 between 63.85 and 6400, probably a pretty solid range trade today. It's possible. It's possible that it moved that quickly. Yes. Let me look at the trade from here. So I'm going to go into this account. So 15 and 25, 20 and 30. Yep, it's already trading for like a buck 70, buck 65. It is that fast sometimes in the morning. So I'm saying I'm very lucky to get filled as I talk through it live. 250 is a fantastic fill. There's still risk in the trade, but as price opens and heads lower, look, if you want to just let price oscillate, look, if price goes back up, so look at the 5 minute chart. Okay, if price goes back up this morning, you're still going to see a $2.25 credit. You're going to see a 250 credit. I'm risking like $1,750 to make 250. So there's still plenty of wiggle room if price goes up. If price goes back up, you can get the same fill that I got or higher. Okay, so you don't have to settle for a 170. In fact, I would almost say don't settle for a 170. Don't settle for a 165. Okay, so collectively, I'm going to do the following. I know I got a pretty fast fill and a good fill this morning. I'm going to ungroup this and ungroup this one and put these together because between the four trades total or the two credit spreads, if I put this together, now let's call this a bear call combo. There. That way I can see this as one trade. I put it on at 250. I'm already up 60 bucks. My goal is if I can pull, 125 out of this, if I can pull 150 out of this, I'd be pretty happy with that fill. Okay. So Jeff, you got in there for 210, 210, 215. Not bad. Okay, so I'll do this. I'm going to post a couple of other orders here. Just since we have a little bit more time, we'll probably just oscillate if I got my standard daily profit play, above and below. If price just oscillates in here, that's pretty perfect for a Monday just to get a range trade. I think the big news is going to be inflation tomorrow. Okay. So a couple ways to look at this. Let's go SPX here. So if I can still do like a 15 delta and a 15 delta, that's not a bad trade for the morning. Okay, I'm going to try to get this trade in for daily profit play. A dollar. See if I get $1.10. 5, 2, 3, 4. Back to a buck 95. Okay, good. All right, just got filled for $1.10. I'm putting another trade in for daily profit play. This is more of the traditional daily profit play for those members that know we're just looking to sell some premium. 20. We'll go 15 to 25% profit target. So if I pulled in $1.10, so 85 or lower. I think 85 or lower, 85 debit or lower. Potential top around 50 today. I don't think we're getting there, but in case we do. Okay. All right. So everything's in Telegram. I've got three trades active this morning. Two of them are bear call spreads. One of them is an iron condor. So we'll see how those play out this morning. Give me a second to fill in my tracker here. 980. And $1.05. Then 981. I'm just putting these all in our spreadsheet. Okay. So three trades in. The 6415 calls not overlapping. Um, no, because it was a different account. This is a different account. Yep. So I have this account filled. One, two, three, four. This account's filled. And then on this account here, I have the combo. There's the combo for 250. It's already up 60 bucks. I'm going to try to get this one trading for, if I can get 125 to $150, I'll probably take the profit. If that's within the first like 30 to 60 minutes, that'd be pretty fantastic. Price would have to move lower for that to be the case. If we just stay choppy, then it's probably going to sit at 50, 60 bucks profit for most of the morning. And then as time decay works and the expected move gets lower and lower, then this will pay, you know, triple digits. So 250 should pay me, over 100 bucks, and I'd be happy making profit there. It's Telegram, Jeff. If you're in Daily Profit Play Alerts, it's Telegram. There's a Daily Profit Play Alerts Telegram channel, and then in your tracker, I update this stuff live as I'm taking the trades. First trade to let it run all day. That's not the plan. No, my plan for this one is with those 250 credits. If I can see this thing trading for, max profit would be 250. If I see it trading for, a dollar 25 or a dollar, I'd be pretty happy taking profit there. So the only way I'd say I'm going to keep it going all day, if I'm going to keep it going all day, it's if price drops. If price drops, then yes, I'll keep the 250 all day because the probability looks pretty darn high that we're going to get there. Okay, but if it's just like a slow grind between like 64 and 63.85, then I'll just hang out. Okay, So on this account, I'm going to add one more trade. Sell to 64 and see if I can get this one filled for like 24 bucks. Small risk. And then a 64. I'll go 50 wide. 45 bucks. I don't think those are going to fill today, but I'll keep them there just in case. 64. Okay, some pending orders. Okay, so now the good part is we just get to hang out. Bottom, top, I'll make a modified. I mean, right now, based on this low of the day, like let's say this is the low of the day, and this is completely a guess. But if we have the low around 63.86, I can still measure my VIX around 0.99. So that would put us up to around, what is down here? So low of the day, up 0.99%. Still puts us around 64.50 or so. Okay, but if it just chops around, like I said, if we just have a range trade where it's difficult to get here, we have a decent resistance level at 64. That was a fail level. We got back up there last week. We did not get to the highs at 64.27. If it sticks around between this positive negative gamma level, this resistance, going into a week like this where it's like it's a Monday, things should be relatively tame. I could see prices being very choppy today, which should be good. Okay, I'm going to set a chart alarm to see if we break, let's say 63.75. Because if I have prices going lower for my initial trades, if my first trades are up here and price falls, this was the 250 credit that I took. Ugh, I'm drawing that like an idiot right now. If this is the 250 credit that I took initially and price falls to some fresh intraday lows, this will be showing more profit. So that 250 credit should be trading for, I don't know, maybe $1.50 or $1.25 debit. I could probably be happy taking the profit there. Okay. But if it's a sideways day, that's pretty easy. Sideways day means this trade waits longer, but I still see a good probability of profit. And the standard iron condor, the daily profit play that I like to take on both sides of the trade, gets profit as well. I hit like a 25-30% take profit, and I'll take the profit there too. Okay. Lattice is just at fill 250. Okay, very good. Good. 250 is a pretty good fill. Again, understand there's risk in the trade. So I'll set a chart alarm here at 75. So 6375. And we'll see if this 6400 level is going to act as any type of resistance. If it is, great. Let's look at the daily trading ranges as well. I'm going to look at the 50 and 100 ATRs. Okay, so right now my largest liquidity level is at 6,400, which means, again, just based on me using the software for like 5 years, it's more difficult for price to get up to the 50% ATR and the 100% ATR when the largest gamma level is right there at 64. So I can see today at 6,400, rejecting, and then price just staying back and forth. This is around 85. So if there's a rejection off of 6,400, we come back to 63.85. I mean, if you're selling premium, you want to see price kind of stay within that range. As I started initially selling way up here, I just want to see price, not get above 6,400. Okay. So as far as the levels today, I could see two things. These are all very tiny liquidity levels. The big one is going to be between, we have the positive negative gamma level at 63.85, 63.85, and we have the big strike at 6,400. That's only about a 15-point range today, which is pretty quiet, right? And again, I hope that's the case. Plus minus on the day is about 18. So if we go up, down from opening bell to close, probably less than 20 points movement. That's kind of the market maker's plan today as far as guardrails. Okay. Bill, I mean, did you overlap? Did you overlap? So let me highlight the trades that I took. So the overlap, you can still treat them differently. So let me write this out. If I went, so a 64.15 sell call and a 64.25 buy call, that's a 10 wide credit spread. Okay, on that trade, I got a $1.50 credit. So my $1.50 is my max profit. This is just one trade. And then $8.50 is my max risk. Okay, I put in a 64.15 sell call and a 64.20 buy call, and then a 63.55 sell put with a 63.50 buy put for a $1.10 credit. So as long as it's still a sell call and a sell call, they're not necessarily conflicting. Like you can organize these trades where now what's going to show in your platform is you're going to have two contracts at 64.15. But remember, this is one trade and this is one trade, right? So even though it shows two contracts here, you're still just taking one trade that is the bear call spread and one trade that is part of the larger iron condor. So as you close them, make sure you're closing out the individual trade or the trade, not the not both of them together. You don't want to close out both contracts at 64.15. You want to close out the profitable one. That makes sense? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here. It's like if I have a 64.15 sell call on one trade and another 64.15 sell call on another trade, that's okay. What I can't do is I can't sell a 64.15 and then buy a 64.15 because that would cancel each other out, right? If I sell a 64.15 and then buy a 64.15, that would cancel each other out. That wouldn't be a trade that's allowed, right? Or I'd like neutralize it. So I just need to make sure that the ticket itself to open and close, I recognize what these trades are. This is a bear call spread. This is an iron condor. I just want to keep the open close separate. Okay, so I want to make sure we're on the same page. Very good. Okay, so far so good. Taking a look at combo right now is up about 90 bucks. And like I said, if I can quickly grab 125 to $150, I'm pretty happy with that trade. If it looks like we are going lower, I'll try to keep the whole $2, maybe $2 today would be a great profit target. If I can make, 190 to $200 today, I'd be pretty happy with that. Okay, so I'll keep an eye on this one. I'm going to set this one as a debit. Let's go. I'm going to go 55-cent debit on this one. Try to close this thing out for 195. And I'll modify that if I have to. And then this account here, that $1.10 hopefully turns into like a $1.85 or less. I'll take $1.10. I'm going to try to make 40 bucks on this account. So give this one some time. There we go. So filled for $1.10, trying to close it at 70. The other two are pending. This one filled at 250. It's already trading for $1.40. So I'm already up 110 bucks on that trade this morning, which is good. Price is going a little bit lower, which is good. I think we're gonna stay. Probably, I don't know. I think we're gonna stay pretty range bound today. If we are surprised, I mean, it's a Monday. We usually don't see Mondays be super directional. So if it's bouncing off that positive and a negative gamma, we probably chop around in here for a little bit. But if it tries to break and go lower to like 75 or 80, then I might just take the profit on that bear call spread. So right now it's up over 50%, which is not bad. But I did get a good fill, and I obviously took the trade very quickly this morning. I was filled like 40 seconds into the open. So had a plan, followed the plan, good fill on the trade, and now we've got some profits to manage. Okay, so we will see. And if price bounces back and forth, like I said, if we bounce between this positive negative gamma and the 6,400 level, then I'm gonna have to sit and wait a little bit longer. But remember, time is in my favor. This is where we're starting at opening bell. This is like the first third of the day, the second third of the day, and then near the close. So if price just stays here all day, then guess what? Time is still going to work in my favor where it's harder and harder for the expected move to get me to 64.15, 64.20, which means that 250 still looks good for profit. If we go lower, it's even easier to make as much money out of this trade as possible. But for the standard daily profit play, if price stays sideways, that's perfect for that $1.10 to decay down to, 85 cents, 75 cents, 65 cents. Try to grab some time decay with price staying sideways all morning. All right. And so far it looks like what I suspected is price is going to stay relatively quiet for Monday. Big news is tomorrow. I mean, we have earnings, yes, but it's like I'm not taking away some of the impact of this week's earnings. I'm just saying it's not nearly as important as the last couple of weeks. Last week was over 1,000 companies. The week before that was all Mag 7. So like that's where really the big market cap and like all the major earnings announcements are. Now it's just what's consensus. Like you're filling in the blanks to see, okay, is the broader market producing decent earnings? I think the earnings valuations are pretty lofty. So I'm not saying the market's going to disappoint. I just think they've lowered the bar so much it's like an easy bar to hit. Beat revenue, beat earnings expectations. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I think most of these numbers are fudged anyway. David says you hold this call every morning. Yeah, every morning is this. Every morning you can jump into this session with me live. This is all part of the daily profit plan. What I'm doing is I just have time with all of you to trade every morning. Okay, so today's Macro Monday, Technical Tuesday, Watch This Wednesday, Trending Thursday, Fast Money Friday. I get to touch on a bit of all my services here. I am taking trades every single day in Daily Profit Play. I'm taking trades every Monday in Waterfall Income. Newsbreakers, we will have some trades to price in this week. Double ups, I'm going to have a 3-day workshop this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Pinch point, we'll focus on that Wednesdays because of the watch list. It's just an easy scan to run. These are good trades to set up. We've had, I think we're 18 winners so far in pinch point. Like we're at 82% winners right now, and it's like auto close. It's actually pretty awesome. You've got a fantastic scanner that gives you 5 to 10 actionable trades a week. I price them out, and I probably end up taking 1, 2, 3 trades a week on this thing. That's protecting the portfolio. That is a little bit more advanced as far as like I teach everything you need as far as the variety of strategies. But I trade this a lot how I manage my capital. A lot of variety of strategies, up, down, sideways, income, owning shares, combining that with kind of campaign trades, right? It's generate income. So it's like I said, if you're kind of taking a service here to kind of graduate into a more advanced service, Project Options Edge would kind of be like my higher bar as far as like you have some option knowledge. You're coming to me. You can follow trades and alerts pretty easily. You're okay taking ownership of stocks. You're okay with maybe a little bit more capital because some of these are more capital intensive. But I kind of put them in this order, and it's not necessarily from like easiest to more complex because I can make anything easy. I can make anything simple to teach and make sure I can you know give you every tool, every resource, every bit of the strategy to make sure we understand what's going on. Wade says, could I ask for email? Absolutely, man. For anybody that's in my services, Chris Pulver pub at gmail.com. That's the email that I check for anybody that's following me out here with my services. So Wade, you can email me there, Chris Pulver pub at gmail.com. Okay, Brett said regular daily profit play, 20%. Nice win. Very nice win. David, does that answer your question? So we do the daily profit plan every single day. Every single day. So I just started this. I mean, I've been running daily profit play alerts every single day for almost a year. Daily profit plan is now let's bring more people in, get some highlights on a bit of how I see the market in the morning, and then put in a little bit of a theme, sprinkle in some educational lessons here, and teach some strategies. And that way, regardless of what alert service or however you want to follow me out there, if you want to take my trades, right? You want to take my trades. Here's 5 services that I post live trades. You want to protect your portfolio. You want a more advanced strategy. You want good education, all this stuff. All my classrooms are full of like tools, resources, videos, and obviously live trading. Okay. But the reason I'm running these sessions is because I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to grind in the markets in the trenches with you. Let's try to make some bucks. And then I can trade for the week. I can trade for the month. I can trade for the year. Like it's all just part of the process. Make sense? Okay. So yeah, this session started at 9 a.m. So every day at 9 a.m., 9 a.m. Eastern Time, live daily profit plan. Okay. All right. We'll do a quick spot check, and I want to bring up, I want to talk. So I said for some anatomy of the trade lessons and segments this week, anatomy of a trade. Tomorrow, we're going to get into something that might be a funny sounding name, but it's a pretty serious trade. And this will fit well to what I do with my double up alerts, which is something I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. And I'm going to have a 3-day workshop this week. So I want to teach you all about the butterfly spreads. I'll do that in class Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Give me just a couple of minutes here, and we'll spot check our trades here in about 60 minutes, but we should be looking good for mostly profit. So this trade is still up about $70, and this trade is up about $20. I'm going to try to get 40 to 50 bucks out of this trade this morning if I can. That's a bigger profit target. I mean, I'm looking at like maybe a 30 to 40% winner here, but I think price is going to kind of stay within the levels I talked about, which is around 6,380 to 6,400. So if it stays there for the day, that's actually pretty nice. Okay. All right. Deanna, are we pushing this out is this on youtube.com/financial wars as well?
Yeah, right now it's on YouTube.
Okay. But we're like cutting that stream in like a few minutes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Just want to make sure. Mark says, do you stay all day until 4? No. No, no, no. I'm going to try to get a nice chunk of profit out of these trades and probably let them go. So for example, this one that I got in for $1.10, if I can close this one out for like 40, 50 bucks, I'm pretty happy with that as a winner. So I don't want to stay in that all day. This trade here, this one I'm more likely to stay in longer to get my profit target. So 250 is max profit. If I pull in, I mean, I had a quick $120, but I'm going to wait because I think that 64, 15, and 20 are pretty good levels to be resistance today. I think 6,400 is resistance. So if I see 250 trading for, $150 profit or close to $200 profit, I'll take that trade and eliminate the risk for the day. So I'm going to try to grab 175 to $200 profit out of this trade today, if I can. Okay. All right. Just give me 1 minute here. And I want to talk about one of my services here, double up, where the goal of this trade is high reward and risk, high reward, low risk.